Testing, testing.
Is that you starting the podcast?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I couldn't even tell. I couldn't tell if you were doing a mic check or if you were just starting the podcast, girl.
Yeah, I thought I'd mix it up this week. Testing, testing.
Girl, you're crazy.
Hey guys, we're back.
Oh, don't say that again.
It's not just you podcast.
We're
episode.
back and we're going to dive in and then we're going to say bye everyone at the end.
If you're
See you
watching,
in our next
you will see
podcast.
that Soph and I were in slightly different vibes today. Got a casual t-shirt and a big furry fleece.
Got a big Nike Just Do It t-shirt on. Don't know why I keep speaking an American accent.
Do you say Nike or Nike?
I say Nike.
I say Nike, and if you say Nike,
Nike, I think that is an American thing
is
to
it
say.
Nike?
But I don't know. I actually feel like Nike might be the proper way to say it.
Okay, let's think of another word. Pike.
No, yeah. I mean, yeah, bike, whatever. You can do that. Obviously,
Why
that
did I say pike?
pike.
Isn't that fish?
Yeah, it is a fish.
Over bike. Well, yeah, that's
No.
what I mean.
Yeah, but I think that as a brand, they want it to be Nike. I think. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that.
Do you know what Adidas means?
It means Adidas.
No, do you know what it stands
Isn't
for?
it German? for
No,
something?
what does it stand for?
Oh.
Do you not know?
No, I think this is made up.
No, it's not.
What is it then?
All day I dream about sport.
I don't know if it is.
All day I dream about sport.
I think that that's something that someone's added in after Adidas
that would
was already
be a
a thing.
pretty genius acronym.
I'm gonna
have-
Google it.
To have like only realised after, oh, Adidas stands for.
Hey Siri, what does Adidas stand for?
Oh, okay, your girl can't be bothered to type.
Yeah,
What does it say?
I don't know. Like nothing's coming up immediately. Anyway, if you think that Adidas means all day I dream about sport, then
So if that was like, what are the chances that Adidas isn't even a word? It's been made up.
I just don't believe it.
All right, well we'll put a poll
I could
up.
say
Who
Rach
thinks
stands
Adi-
for really always.
Doesn't make sense though. Does it? Okay, brilliant. Anyways, guys, on a completely different note, let's jump into today's episode.
Adidas or Nike? Or Nike?
Nike every day.
Really?
Yeah.
But Adidas is like probably
all
more
my
in
sports
now.
stuff is Nike.
All my sports stuff is Nike.
Yeah, secondhand.
What about like
vintage.
Lonsdale?
Actually, yeah, that sounds so like. I don't know.
It's Nike
Can
or nothing.
I actually do just want to clarify, guys. If you do like the brand Nike, because I think it's good sportswear, you can actually get brand new stuff with tags on Vinted. Got my sports
Cool.
bras on Vinted. Yeah, it's a hack.
It's so you're going Nike over Adidas?
Yeah, you're more of a Lonsdale girl, aren't you?
Yeah. Dunlop. Can't be hating on them. People might actually like those brands.
I've got Dunlop wellies.
I know you do.
I'm not hating on it. So what is your brand?
So I
What's your
hating on
brand of
Lonsdale?
choice? What's your sports brand of choice?
Probably. I mean, what I've always wanted, and if anyone wants to gift me this, then please feel free to. The full Adidas original tracksuit, preferably
yeah,
in
to be
green,
fair.
like the Shell Adidas originals,
Adidas
the vintage
shoes as well
Adidas
are very
tracksuit.
in.
So if anyone wants to buy me, they're very expensive.
But yeah,
You're not
you
getting one of
I
those for
always
under
wanted
100
one of the
quid.
Nike cohorts. You know when they
Adidas is
came
just
out?
way cooler for that.
Yeah, fair.
But look, I've got the Nike
Fair.
t-shirt. Anyway,
All right.
anyway,
on
5
that
minutes
note.
talking about absolutely nothing.
Okay, so
This is
what
what you came for, guys.
What's our episode today, Soph?
Oh no, you read it out. Go on.
All right. Today's episode is going to be around the theme of alcohol.
Don't know how to react to that.
I know. So the title that we're kind of going to be speaking into is It's Not Just You Who Feels the Pressure to Drink Alcohol. So there's so many different things we could speak into within the topic of alcohol. But yeah, today we're going to be focusing specifically on feeling pressure to drink.
Yeah.
So
And actually, sorry, just had a thought. I think you could maybe see this title and think about, you know, when you're in school and you're doing citizenship lessons and they're like, don't give in to peer pressure to drink.
Yeah.
We're not actually really going to be speaking about being under the age of 18 and feeling like your friends are pressuring you to drink.
If you're under the age of 18, this podcast episode isn't really relevant to
No,
you.
because
we don't condone underage drinking here, and it's not just you.
No, this isn't necessarily about peer pressure when you're under 18. This is more about forming a healthy relationship with alcohol in your adult life and the relationship that you want to have with it. Like,
yes, lovely.
does that make sense?
It's a lovely angle to be taking today.
Well, that is the angle that we are taking.
No, I agree. Yeah, it's more about, I think, even like we've said, when we're talking about pressure, we're not really talking about the kind of pressure of like you're on a sports night, like, and it's a pre where everyone's saying drink, drink, drink. We're more just talking about the more subliminal pressure of like when you're going for drinks or going to the pub or you're socializing after a busy week of work, and the assumption is that you'll have a drink or you'll go on a night out and maybe you don't want to.
Yeah. But I mean, we can touch on the big pressures.
Yeah, we can.
But maybe we can't. No, okay. We'll just start talking and you'll get the gist of what we're trying to say. Yeah. I don't know why we keep trying to explain ourselves when we could just start talking and then you'd know what we mean. So,
well, why don't you give your story, Soph?
Oh.
Have you ever felt pressured to drink? And if so, could you tell us a bit about that?
I flipping have. I think for me, like you were saying, I don't think I've necessarily felt that big pressure of someone standing in a, you know, people standing in a circle around me going, flipping drink. I mean, that probably has happened. But anyway, I don't know what I'm saying. Let me just go into the story. So I think the main pressure that I would feel is more just, or have felt, is the thing of the subtle, everyone's doing it, so I'll just keep going. E.g., maybe I went out and I was like, probably only want to have like 1 or 2 drinks, but then people are on a different vibe. And then, you know, I remember being at uni and a prees was never chill. Like it's you know, I think uni was the main time when I would just feel this pressure of everyone's going on this one track of getting really drunk, and you know, that's the course that the night is going to take. So I kind of want to go along with that and feeling the pressure to just, I guess, blend in and fit in with everyone else.
Yeah.
Even when you maybe know, but I wanted to get up early tomorrow and feel fresh, and if I do that, then I'm not going to probably feel great in the morning, but everyone else is doing it, so I'm going to do it as well. And you know, suddenly it's 4 a.m. and you're still not in bed.
Yeah.
You've been on a wild night out, which, you know, maybe it was great, but maybe it wasn't necessarily what you set out and wanted to do.
And what would you say is like the main reason behind that, of wanting to, do you know what I mean? Like what's almost like the root of like why you would end up drinking?
I think it was, for me, very, again, the subtlety of just the fact that everyone else is doing it.
Yeah.
But that was never a big thought in my head. It was never a forefront in my mind, you know, going out of my flat into the kitchen for a prees thinking, must blend in, must do what everyone else is doing. It wasn't a loud thought, but I guess when I analyse my behaviour, because it's that thing of lining up what you actually want to do, or your, I don't want to say morals, but essentially what you actually want to do versus what you end up doing potentially because of other people and being influenced. And so I think, yeah, it was probably just that subtle thing of everyone else is doing it, so just go with the flow.
Yeah.
Just want to go with the flow, go with where everyone else is going, and not be the person that's going, oh, no, actually, again, it goes into this whole thing, I think I've spoken about it in podcasts before, where I've realised that actually sometimes I can be, like, I just want to be chill and easygoing, and so to go, oh, no more drinks for me, would feel a bit like, oh.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Like, why is Sophie not having any more drinks?
Yeah.
Like, I would just want to go with the flow and go with what go with what everyone else is doing.
Yeah, I agree. I think it would be similar for me in terms of, yeah, not necessarily feeling like I need to, but almost being kind of like swept up in the moment. But I think another kind of reason why I could have ended up drinking when I wasn't going to, or whatever, is also because as people start to drink alcohol, and if they're drinking it like in excess, obviously that then begins to change how they're being, and maybe they're like more unfiltered, or like, yeah, they're loosening up and everyone's getting louder. And I think sometimes the idea of you being the only sober person in that kind of scenario, or like only having had one drink and everyone's, if I'm honest, just getting annoying, can almost even prompt you to want to,
It can be so painful.
yeah, to like drink as well, so that like, because you know when like,
I've got friends that I love, but when they've had too much to drink, they're really annoying.
but even just, I genuinely think like the main thing sometimes is volume.
Oh my, as in their
Like
volume,
louder,
yeah.
louder, getting louder. And if you're just sat there like,
Well, it's like
this
you're in
would
two
be less
different
painful
worlds.
if I'd had a drink.
It's like you're in two different worlds.
Yeah.
And it's not much fun. And this is the thing, it's like I'm fully an advocate for you can have fun without alcohol or with minimal alcohol. It's actually nothing to do with that. It's not that, oh, I feel like I'm a boring person because I haven't had a drink. It's because everyone else is just on a completely different vibe. And if no one else is kind of on your end of soberness or not having had that much to drink, you just feel quite like, well, I'm the only one. It's not really fun in any situation being the only one that's,
Yeah, like in any scenario, like even if it's like all your mates, you know, ordering a round of drinks, going up to the bar, all of that, or like, I don't know, doing a shot or whatever it is it's just all these kind of,
and you can just see gradually them getting more
yeah,
and more.
yeah. But I think, and I think for a lot of people, that's probably the root of the pressure of like just not wanting to feel like the odd one out, which is just a way bigger kind of social concept rather than just in this sense of drinking. But yeah, like let's say you're all going to a bar, the first thing is they're all, you know, getting a similar kind of drink, and you're the one with like,
Lime and soda.
Yeah, lime and soda. Or then the next thing is all of their behavior starts changing and you're the only one who isn't. Then it's like, you know, oh, it just gets progressively more and more throughout the night. Or then the next thing is they're all saying, oh, why aren't you having a drink? And then again, you're kind of singled out as being the one who's having to say, oh, I'm not drinking and everyone else is. And essentially, I think sometimes it can just feel like a lot in your mind to choose to drink less or not drink at all because of all of those little factors.
Yeah.
But I think what's interesting is that sometimes in reality, it's actually different to how you envision it in your mind. Like I've equally had instances where I've not drank because I'm driving or something like that. And in my head, I've thought, oh, you know, everyone's going to say this and say that. No one cares.
Yeah.
Like I think sometimes
They're just like, sweet.
we build it up in our minds that like something could be awful or you would really feel it. And like I always remember this one night, I think, where I had been in like quite a long cycle of, you know, going out and drinking a lot and kind of, you know, being yeah, like drinking with my mates. And then there was this night where I was like, oh, I just don't really want to do that. And you know, my behavior was beginning to kind of like change more to be in that direction. So I drove and I had a brilliant night. Like I didn't feel like an odd one out. I, you know, I guess had the reason that I was driving. So it was very simple to kind of shut down conversation of why aren't you drinking? It's like, well, I'm driving. Like no one can argue with that. Like,
and if they are, then
that's a cause for concern.
Very questionable.
And well, you know, it was on a day where I had a lot of energy. Like I personally don't like, I love kind of the dancing on a night out and the fun and the conversations anyway, so I don't feel like I need to have alcohol to do that. So I was still engaging in all of those things and I had a great night. And I think sometimes it's just worse in your head than it is. Obviously there are other times where you go and, you know, it doesn't play out like that. But actually, if you've never kind of been out with your friends and chosen not to drink, and you do have all these preconceptions of how it would go, it doesn't always play out how you think it will.
Yeah. And I mean, when thinking about, why do people feel pressure to drink, I do think, and potentially I think this might be the main one, is that people just feel as though they can't be the person they want to be without alcohol. They don't maybe feel confident enough. They feel like if they don't have a drink, they're boring. Maybe, all your friends are going to want to dance and you're like, I don't really like dancing. So I'm going to, need to have a few drinks if they want to see me get on the dance floor. And so I think that is also, if not for me, I think the big reasons are not wanting to look like the odd one out. But I do also think people feeling like they'll be seen as a boring person or not as confident as they want to be without alcohol.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think what is to be said is that all of these things that we've just spoken about are real pressures, and it's not something that's just this really easy thing to suddenly go, I'm just not going to feel the pressure.
Yeah.
And actually, like we were saying at the beginning, I think a lot of them are more subtle. It's not like you need to go always need to no, start again. It's not necessarily that you're going to need to sit your friends down and go, can you stop forcing me to down my drinks? Like, I mean, maybe that is a conversation you might want to have, but it's often the subtle, even just every time your friends hang out, it's in a pub, it's in a bar, it's doing a night out, and actually that then obviously forces you in a situation where you probably are going to be drinking. It's all these little things that kind of build up to, or build together, to maybe mean that your relationship with alcohol at the moment isn't necessarily what you want it to be.
Yeah.
And so again, it's not necessarily that you're thinking, I want to be teetotal, I don't even want to drink. That also might be you, but you might just think, I would just love to go out and have a couple of drinks and come home, rather than every night leading to, got absolutely sloshed and then got home at 4 and then felt awful the next day. And I'm, if that's how you want to use alcohol, drink, then, your decision to make. But I think it's more about having a conviction or something in, an ideal way that you would relate to alcohol or have a relationship with alcohol in mind, and then actually going into a situation where you're drinking and sticking to that. So if you want to have 2 drinks, having 2 drinks and coming home. If you want to have 5 drinks, having 5 drinks and coming home.
Yeah.
If you want to have no drinks, doing that. Do you know what I mean? So it's not so much about not, cutting out alcohol altogether, but I think it's more about not getting swept up in a moment or feeling like you have to do something when you don't really want to.
Yeah. It's like the bigger picture, like you say, almost taking the alcohol part out of it. Just like, actually, I want to be able to be with my friends and not feel pressure to do something that I actually just don't really want to do. And not even, like you say, in a hugely deep way of, I'm being forced to do this or forced to do that. More just like, if I don't want to, go out and get really drunk and then have a whole weekend where I just feel not great and I'm hungover and I'm really tired and all of that, then I should be able to, not do that and like choose to do something else. And I think it's basically just trying to work out ways to, help yourself in that process. Because I think particularly at the start, if, it's like we don't know what context people are in, it could be quite just a highly pressurizing environment, and it is hard not to. And it's trying to think of little ways of, okay, I know I don't want to drink a lot tonight, so what would help me? Like, maybe it is that example of, I'm going to drive, or actually I know that there's this thing early on Saturday morning that like I just fundamentally don't want to feel ill for, so I am going to have to leave a bit earlier and not drink, like, or drink less, like whatever it is. It's almost like thinking of things that you can put in place or reasons you can have that will help you, be more kind of boundaried with your decisions. But then I also think I think your friends should support you in that as well. Like, obviously there's the reality of, oh yeah, we're all going on a night out, like let's all have a good time. But I think if part of the reason that you feel like you can't not drink, or you feel this pressure is because like your friends are going to, turn on you and really come for you if you're not going to. I don't think that's great.
And I think the reality is you don't need to sit your whole friendship group down and go, guys, this has gone too far.
I'm only having one drink tonight.
I think it's even feeding into the point of sticking to your decision to do something, especially when alcohol is involved, is actually really hard, because the whole thing is, again, let's say you're not trying to go teetotal, but you just want to manage, your alcohol a bit better, or you just want to stick to having 2 drinks or whatever. The thing is, as soon as you've had 2 drinks, you're probably more likely to want a third, but also when other people are around you and they've had something to drink, it's more likely for them to go, oh, go on, just have another one. Come on, like, don't be boring, whatever.
Yeah.
And so actually, like I said, not that you need to go and have this intervention moment with your friends to announce that you're now going to be this different person, but more actually having people that are aware of stuff that you've been thinking about around alcohol and bringing them into your thoughts. So, they actually might be able to help you out a bit if you're on a night out and you've said to one of your closest mates, oh, do you know what? I kind of just want to stick to having 2 drinks this evening. Could you help me do that? Getting them to be that second person going, oh, come on, remember what you said, or remember you've got that thing tomorrow, or remember we want to, do
an
this.
ally.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like having someone on your side to help you, because it can be hard, and it's always just good to have people in the loop with those kind of things, I think.
100%. And I guess to almost wrap it up, what would you say to someone that's like, I don't really want to drink as much as I am, but I really just don't feel confident enough to go out or be at these things without, drinking a lot?
I think I totally get that. And I totally get, especially in certain situations, particularly I remember being at uni, you're around a lot of new people, alcohol
Dutch
can,
courage.
make things a bit easier when everyone's had a drink, everyone's feeling a bit more loose and friendly and all of that. But what I would say is, long term, do you want to rely on alcohol to give you confidence?
Oof.
And that's quite like a hard hitting truth, but for me that answer would be no. I don't want to feel like, oh, the only time I could dance is if I've had a drink.
Yeah.
Or the only time I could go and talk to someone is if I've had a drink. Like, I think, not to get deep, but I do think it's a deeper thing that you probably maybe need to address outside of alcohol, or outside of going out with friends. I think I don't know, that's my kind of instinct, is that it's probably a bit of a bigger thing. And, just spending time working on your confidence. And I'm not a confidence coach, or I don't necessarily know how you grow your confidence in that way, but
please tell us.
Yeah, so if anyone's got any like resources or anything they can send our way. But do you know what I mean? I do think that I personally wouldn't want to go my whole life relying on alcohol to give me confidence.
No, 100%. And I think as much as people will be like, oh, it's not that deep, and like, oh, have a drink, like blah, 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 go up to that person, do this, do that. Like, the reality is, if you were actually in a position where you were like, I cannot go out without being really drunk, like, I do just think that is deep. I don't think that's not deep.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and like, I'm sure there's so many people that feel that way, but it's just like, oh, I guess there's only so long you can use alcohol as a kind of mechanism of gaining confidence.
And to be honest, what I would say on a more practical note is, if you're going on a night out and you're worried about what people think of you, people looking at you, they're not. Like, literally, everyone else is probably too drunk to even remember what they've said, let alone what someone else has said or done. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't think I can, even nights where I've barely had anything to drink, I can't remember coming home the next day going, oh, do you remember when so-and-so did that?
Yeah.
Like,
everyone's
weird dance
I
move
mean,
when they were
just much like most of life, people are quite focused on themselves most
exactly
of the time.
Exactly. So, just even having stuff like that in mind, of people are too in their own world to be thinking about you, so just go and Dance the night away, in the words of Dua Lipa. Watch me
guys.
dance the night
I
away.
hope that if you're listening to this and you are feeling pressure to drink and you don't really want to, this helps in a little bit.
Sorry, can I just add one more point?
Yeah.
Just one more point on managing alcohol, how that works, the actual reality of doing that. Again, more practically speaking, I think one of the biggest tips I could give is actually making a decision before you go out about how much you want to drink. And if you're and if that pressure comes, you kind of have something to go back to if you start to get those feelings of oh I don't know, do I want to like take it that far or do I want to keep going? At least you have something to go back to and go, but I remember before I even came out I said I was going to have 3 drinks. And you know, whether you keep to that or not, that's a different question, but I think it puts you in a way better position to say no to something rather than just kind of making it up as you go along when you're already in the situation on the night out.
I agree. And one final point from me, not drinking is becoming more and more of a, I think, socially acceptable thing. So if you are there and you are like, oh, I want to be teetotal, or oh, I do just want to cut it out, like the health benefits, the mental benefits, the physical, emotional, all the different benefits of not drinking alcohol are real. So yeah, even though, like So said, this isn't a podcast saying everyone stop drinking and never drink a drop of alcohol, it's actually just not. I think you'd be surprised how it's becoming less and less and less of a big deal to not drink. Yeah. Loads of people don't. So yeah.
So maybe you could be a trendsetter in your group.
Yeah, set these trends like.
And just be the pioneer. I do think, I don't know. I was going to say, I do think there might come a day where we look back and people go, why on earth did we drink alcohol?
Yeah, like it's like in the same way, I guess, more and more with smoking.
Yeah, where people go,
like.
But then I don't know, because alcohol's just been here forever. I think it's just such a part of society. I don't think it will ever go.
But we could, with the evolution of science, see more and more and more of the effects of it, though.
That is true.
Anyways, okay, guys. Hope you enjoyed this episode, and yeah, any final words?
I was trying to think of a song about drinking, but I can't.
Okay. All right then, guys.
We're drinking from the...
Okay, bye everyone. See you in our next episode.
Bye.